One great way to monetize your travel blog is to create and sell tours. This is actually one of the top ways that I earn an income through my blog, Jessie on a Journey. And I'll tell my story of how I got into doing this as I share a step-by-step strategy for how you can do it too. But first, I want to direct your attention to the description of this video where I've shared a link to my free tour company creation cheat sheet. This printable is meant to help you take what you learn in this video to create and sell profitable tours faster and easier. Feel free to even pause this video to go grab that free cheat sheet. You back? Then let's kick things off with step number 1, pinpoint the general theme. A good place to start when coming up with the general theme of your tour is to consider the mission of your blog and let your tours be an extension of that. For instance, if your blog aims to help people discover local food, you might create a food tour that supports local businesses and shares the story of the destination through food with guests. Or if your blog is focused on active adventure, you might put together hiking or cycling tours. And this brings us to step number 2, flesh out the tour itinerary. I recommend starting with one tour so that you can really put your all into the itinerary. Really think about what you want the experience to be. Is it a bunch of stops tied together by a theme? Is there a larger story that you'll weave into the itinerary? What I mean by this is, are you creating more of a local eateries in the West Village experience, or more of a telling the story of Italian immigrant history through food in the West Village experience? As you map out the stops and the script, make sure that the route makes logistical sense. There may be 2 stops that are both perfect for your tour, but if to get to them, guests will need to sit on a bus for 30 minutes or take 3 different trains, it'll likely be frustrating for most people. Finally, consider how you can add in some VIP experiences. And this doesn't need to be anything flashy or over the top, but it should be something that guests couldn't do on their own. One example could be going behind the counter of a coffee shop to learn how they make a special drink, or getting to go into the kitchen of a restaurant to meet the chef to learn more about the food. Now let's chat about step number 3, gauge interest in your tour. You might have the best tour idea in the world, but that doesn't mean your audience will book it. Now, before I said I would share my story of how I got into leading tours, and let me do that quickly now. For me, I was lucky that I regularly had readers emailing me and asking me if I could show them around New York. And this is actually how I got the idea to get licensed as an NYC tour guide, work for other local tour companies to gain experience, and then start creating and selling my own tours. If you don't necessarily have people asking you to be their guide, another idea is to survey your audience. You could share your idea with your community and ask them if they would be interested, and potentially even get their input into what they'd find valuable. If you discover that there is interest, you might consider holding a launch event where you promote a tour at a specific date and time. Just keep in mind here that A, having people tell you they're interested doesn't guarantee they'll pay money, but B, even if your audience doesn't fill up all of the slots and sell out your tours, you can always promote elsewhere too. And this brings me to step number 4, set up your tour pricing. As you continue creating the tour experience, one important consideration is what you'll charge. A good starting point is to look at what other people are charging for similar tours. Though, keep in mind, you don't need to charge the same. It's really about the value that's being offered. For instance, you might have more VIP moments in your tour, which adds value. Or maybe you're a historian leading a historic tour, or you have a fine arts degree and you're leading an art gallery crawl. These are things that can allow your price to go up. And this brings me to step number 5, set up your sales page and software. Of course, you need a way for people to book your tour. I personally have a sales page on my blog, as well as on a dedicated tour website at nycphotojourneys.com. Both connect with my booking software, Peak Pro. And Peak Pro handles the calendar, the secure payments, and even liability waivers. There is a fee to get set up with them, but if you send me an email to jessie@jessieonajourney.com, I can get you a discount of $100 off since I'm a Peak Pro user myself, which I believe will cover the cost of setup or almost cover the cost. Now let's talk about step number 6, launch. Now it's up to you whether you want to have a soft launch and just sort of promote the tours without any big event tied to the opening, or you can host a launch event, which can be a great way to build excitement. There are many ways to do this, but one idea is to host a discounted launch tour on a set date and time and put effort into promoting this one event. You might even consider inviting journalists, bloggers, and influencers to the event to get some early press. And this brings us to step number 7, take steps to increase tour profits. So along with promoting the heck out of your tour and regularly getting the word out about it, I recommend offering add-ons and upsells. Add-ons are extra products and services that pair with your tour to enhance the experience or make things easier for the guests. For instance, if your experience ends with yoga in the park, you might have the yoga mat rental be an upsell. Another popular one is cancellation insurance. Personally, since I offer photo tours, one of my add-ons is a bonus folder of black and white photographs. In terms of upsells, once you create other tours and experiences, you can either bundle them together or pitch other products at checkout for additional sales. And by the way, Peak Pro makes this super easy to set up in just a few clicks. Now let's chat about step number 8, pinpoint legal considerations. I do recommend that you consult with a lawyer before leading tours to make sure that you are set up for success legally. Now, here in NYC, there are actually free legal services for small business owners through the Neighborhood Entrepreneur Law Project, or NELP for short. So it may be worth checking in your area if there's anything similar. At a minimum, you'll definitely want to have liability insurance as well as a liability waiver that guests sign. And now let's talk about step 9, scale. One of the best ways to increase your bookings is to list your tours on tour aggregators like Viator, Expedia, and Get Your Guide. Sure, you'll need to give them a cut of your profits, typically 20 to 30%, but it'll bring in customers you wouldn't have had in the first place. Make sure you're also growing visibility by getting reviews. After every tour, I personally reach out to guests and ask for a review, letting them know I'm donating $3 per review to a local charity as a little incentive. All right, now I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you feel inspired and empowered to create and sell profitable tours through your blog. Don't forget to grab access to my free tour company creation cheat sheet. This printable is meant to help you take what you learned in this video to create and sell profitable tours faster and easier. And of course, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss future videos sharing tips and strategies for exploring the world, experiencing life, and building a business beyond the guidebook. Happy blogging!